I apologize for that. We had weather issues here, and so I wasn't able to join initially. I did get on, but not for a while after it started. So um, that's unfortunate. And
Well,
I
you were
know,
the only officer who showed up.
yeah, John Mark, I know was visiting family. And he'd mentioned that earlier. Anyway, okay, we are up and running. So thanks all for joining our August meeting. Um, kind of the the ebb of the activities because it's the end of the summer and a lot of stuff is a lot of people are still on vacation or enjoying the outdoors, so we may have a little bit of a limited turnout tonight. But I did want to bring up a couple things just at the beginning that folks may or may not be aware of. I commented on them in the meeting invite, but coming up before our next meeting, I believe, is the Vintage Computer Festival Midwest, which is also in Chicago. So for those folks who are in the Chicago area or regularly go to the Chicago area, Vintage Computer Festival Midwest is coming up on the let me check here real quick. It's coming up on the 7th and 8th of September. So it'll happen before our next meeting. We've got a number of folks from the club that will be there, but it is going to be a big event. So I don't know, for those who know their way around the Chicago area, it's been the show previously had been in the Clarion Inn, which is not too terribly far away from the original Cocoa Fest location in Heron Point. But the new one is going to be in the Renaissance Schaumburg, and they just announced about 2 weeks ago or so that they've moved from a 33,000 square foot conference space to a 50,000 square foot conference space. So I'm I guess I'm I'm thinking that if you were ever thinking about coming to Chicago in the fall for a general classic computer show, you probably want to hit this one up because I can't tell for certain, but I would think that this is probably the largest um, of the kind of home computer or classic computer shows as far as square footage is concerned and number of exhibitors is concerned, um, that I think has ever existed. And I can't think of another show that has been nearly as significant or have as many exhibitors as this. So I think that's great. I mean, obviously for the color computer, it's great. There's a lot of folks that'll come because of the size of it, and for those that are demonstrating Cocoa and software and hardware, it'll be an opportunity to share that with a bunch of folks. But definitely be an opportunity to see even more exhibits of the other platforms um, than I think we've ever seen before. So invite folks to come there if you're thinking about exhibiting. Um, let me know. I think Grant, I don't know if we've gotten things together for our show next year as far as flyers are concerned, but that might be an opportunity for us to hand something out.
Okay, I'll see if I can. I'm still up in the air if I'm even going to be able to make it because I just got hip surgery. So, but
Well,
yeah, I'll see if I can get something.
we'll I think we could scare up a wheelchair or maybe a little four wheeler, maybe one of those what do you call those little two-wheeled things that they got a
The
little seat on
scooters.
them? Yeah, the little scooter thing. We could get you a little scooter. Well, if not, let me know. I mean, obviously, we'd love to see you there, but if there's an opportunity to advertise the 2025 show, I'd love to do it because there's going to be a lot of foot traffic at that event. Um,
Okay.
so the other thing I wanted to point out is Tandy Assembly is coming up in actually it's the end of September, so it's the 31st of September, or sorry, I'm in August again. My bad. It's the 28th of September and the 29th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. They have a Friday part of the show as well. I was just scanning back through the stuff in the Glenside Facebook group, and I remembered that the Tandy Assembly folks noted that if you have your badge from 2024 Cocoa Fest, you can get free entry free admission to Tandy Assembly. That's in Springfield, Ohio. So for those that were thinking about an option to travel to Tandy Assembly, make sure you take your 2024 attendee badge, dig it out, or figure out where you threw it when you finished Cocoa Fest and take it with you because you might be able to get actually should be able to get free admission to the show. So I see Brian on. Thanks for joining. And so, Brian, do you have any secretary reports for us to go over? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, thank you. Well, yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask about because something I've done personally is I've been turning my Facebook account off. I've had it off for a while, and when I went to go try to find them, I wasn't finding the recordings like I normally would. So I didn't know if they were not recording or am I looking in the wrong spot? I've checked YouTube and I checked Facebook, and normally they would be there, and I could rewatch them again for the meetings that I missed, and I wasn't seeing it. So I don't know if my brain was just going blank or what. But
Should be on YouTube.
Well, some of them. So we didn't have a meeting in May because of Cocoa Fest, so there wasn't
Yep,
there wasn't that.
yep.
And then June, I think John Mark, I wasn't able to attend the June meeting, and so John Mark held that meeting, but he didn't stream it. So you'll have to get your updates
Okay.
from John Mark. July was a challenge. I was late getting to the meeting, and so we didn't ultimately have a meeting in July. So this is the
Okay.
first one we've had. We've had some
Okay.
challenges over the last few months, but I know we've got some that are back that are that are
Yes.
previous
Yep.
meetings, and I don't know if we'd finished any of those or not.
Not yet. No, I've actually been unfortunately incredibly busy with work. I've been almost out of town more than I've been in town lately. So I just finally got a break, and I'm actually going to be out of town again, leaving this weekend. So it's been unfortunate for me, and it's unfortunate for the club because I'm not keeping up with my commitments. So to get some of those done, but I do have notes from a lot of them. I just need to take the time to type them up or go back and re-listen. So,
Okay.
but they would be in the Glenside under the live, right? When they enter the live videos or something, they should be.
Correct.
Okay,
They
I'll
would
go.
be.
I'll
Yes.
go check again. I was looking over this weekend, and I just I don't know. I wasn't seeing what I was looking for, but
Well,
anyway,
go ahead.
I'll
Yeah,
look at them.
just go, I mean, if you have questions about where we're streaming or not, you can go ahead and fire me off an email or text me or ping me in Discord. I'm
Okay.
happy to get you pointed in the right direction.
I did put the meeting minutes on the Google Drive under treasury under secretary, whatever report, whatever category that is for 2024. So if you know how to use the Google Drive, you should see what I wrote.
Okay, I'll go
If
look there.
not,
Thanks,
I'll
John.
help you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Um, Eric's not on tonight, and so unfortunately I don't have a treasurer's report. So I'll find out what's going on with the treasurer's report. I'll have to get that in place for our September meeting. Grant, I know we're kind of at the bottom of the cycle for Cocoa Fest, but anything to share around our upcoming Cocoa Fest?
I have signed the contract for the hotel, and we have paid the $1,000 deposit here this week. So we have reserved all the rooms in the hotel, pretty much. So we'll be getting the code here shortly for the hotel rooms to be for people to start reserving those. But the dates, just to let you know, we're going to try to do the Friday and Saturday show. So it'll be the May 2nd and the May 3rd of 2025. So,
Okay.
so the difference saying that this year is going to be over the previous years is that we are actually starting the show on Friday and all day Saturday, and then Sunday we have to be out by noon. So, and the reason we're doing that for is because, again, as we noticed from this last year and previous years, people seem to pack up and leave by around 11 o'clock. So no sense for us to be paying for a room, if people are not going to participate. And we don't seem to get very many people from outside in the Chicago area on Sunday. So So the upside of this, as I've been planning out the schedule, is that we will have more room for speakers now, since we have 2 days on Friday and Saturday. So we'll give this a shot and see if it works out. And then, if it doesn't work out, then we revert back to the old-fashioned way on Saturday and Sunday in 2026. And just to let everybody know too, the dates for the 2026 show are going to be May 1st and May 2nd of 2026. So we're going to go for that first weekend in May. That seems to be the consensus that works better for a lot of people. And plus also it's a little warmer in Chicago.
We should probably publish that date in a number of places. I know we've put it on our Facebook group, but I think, John Mark, you said there was a place where we could stow all of the different, or that there are a lot of places put their dates and whatnot. Is that correct?
The dates for what?
For the next Cocoa Fest.
Well, there's something called the Vintage Computer Federation forums that I've been posting things to.
Okay, well, yeah, I think there was like a larger calendar. The reason I mention is because this year, 2024, there was challenges around shows that overlapped, and so I'd like to give everybody
Right.
the maximum opportunity to, for instance, the let's see, the Vintage Computer Festival East, for instance, will be the weekend following, so it'll be the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th of April. And then I think for those folks that are in the Midwest, for instance, the other one that probably is of interest is Indie Classic. And this year it was held on the 13th and 14th of April. And so I'm assuming that they'll do something similar next year. So it'll be about mid-April. So ours being in May kind of, kind of steers clear of these April shows.
Yep, and that was another reason why too, because some people were complaining about having to drive to 2 shows in 1 week. I think it was actually you, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it wasn't our show, but yeah, VCF East and Indie Classic were both on the 13th and 14th of April this year. So that, I mean, probably we don't have a lot of overlap with VCF East. There probably is a limited number of people that are going to come to a Chicago show and then turn around and go to a show on the East Coast. But Indie Classic would be one I would think we'd want to make sure that we coordinate with them, because that's only like an hour and a half or 2 hours away from the Chicago area. And I know we have a lot of folks that come up we have folks that come from Ohio and from Indiana. And so that would be a show that they would probably be interested in attending as well. The other one that I'm thinking of is the Midwest Gaming Classic, which is in Wisconsin. I don't know that they've selected their 2025 date yet, but maybe. I was just going to look here real quick and see.
I think that's prior
Yep.
to May.
Yep. Actually, it's the very 1st of May. So they've scheduled theirs April 4th to April 6th of 2025. So we're clear from that. The reason I mentioned that one is that one actually definitely affects us, because we use drop cords and dang, I'm drawing a blank. The power strips and whatnot. We use those from the VCF Midwest folks. And VCF Midwest isn't held in the spring, but they take a lot of that equipment up to Midwest Gaming Classic and run the classic computer portion of the Midwest Gaming Classic. And so if we have our event at the same time as Midwest Gaming Classic, then we can't take advantage of some of the stuff that they let us borrow. But it looks like we're good for next year for sure.
Awesome. So as soon as I get the codes for the hotel rooms, I'll put a post up on the Facebook page, and then you guys can start booking your rooms and get ready for next year. So, and just let you know too, we have 2 overflow rooms and the speaking room. We do have the option for a 3rd overflow room if we need to, since we may be using a suite for the auction items across from the presentation room this year. So, but and then also the hotel's been very nice too. So if we don't use all of those rooms, then we do not have to pay for all of them. So if things change that we don't need as many overflow rooms, then we're good for that as well. So,
Good.
but other than that, I think we'll be in good shape.
Okay. Um, I was gonna. I don't know that you and I have chatted since the show because I think after the show everybody just sort of started to decompress, and then it was the summer. Um, but I do know there were a couple folks in the secondary rooms that were across the hall, and we were talking about those rooms um, during the show. I think the traffic isn't as significant in those rooms. um, and I mean, there's probably ways to address that, right? But I was thinking instead of necessarily focusing so much on addressing that, I noticed in the main room there were a lot of there, well, not a lot of folks, but there were definitely some folks in the main room that were primarily using their exhibit space. They were happy to show off their project, but they were actually working on it during the show, right? It was like a um, well, I don't know how you'd say it, but they basically they were developing their solution or testing their solution or whatever. So that was kind of a working booth for them, as opposed to some of the other booths were basically just exhibiting a product that they are or a piece of software they'd already finished. And I got the impression those folks were happy to show off their product, but they really wanted some time to just sort of focus heads down on working on their item. And then there were a couple folks that actually were in the room off to the side that actually preferred it, that it had a little bit less traffic because they were looking for um, a little bit they were looking for a little bit more um, I want to say it's not isolation, but just uh, they kind of
Quieter.
wanted a, yeah, quieter, less chaotic space. When the later in the evening events were going on, like the jam session and whatnot, they kind of wanted an area to kind of be a little bit more quiet. And so they actually preferred that. And so I was thinking maybe we market those rooms or at least one of them that way and say, listen, if you're looking for a little bit more quiet, intimate space to do your work and share your progress on your project, or maybe you're not quite done with your exhibit, like it's kind of an in progress thing, and you are more interested in kind of showing the kind of the as you're getting it completed type thing, and would prefer a smaller space, we could suggest the areas to the side over there. Um, so a thought anyway. I didn't know how many people that would appeal to, but and I know the one I know in the past we had, or not in the past, but for this year, I think we'd also talked about having some space out in the foyer. We ultimately didn't need that because we didn't have enough folks that wanted that. But I know in the past we've had challenges with folks purchasing a table basically because they just wanted a place to sit. And if that were the case and they wanted a place just to have a table where they could put their computer and whatnot, we the foyer was a good idea for that. I really liked your idea there. The downside of the foyer obviously is we can't lock those tables up because they're open all weekend. So if somebody was to purchase a space there, they'd be responsible to take all their stuff each of the days and deal with it when the show's not open.
Right. Yep. I'll put that in the description when we get those up and going here later. And we'll probably also be doing some different pricing too for, like, for example, the tables along the wall are probably going to increase in prices in the big room. And maybe the tables out in those quiet rooms will probably be cheaper and stuff like that. So because that will help discourage people, just taking
Hey,
up tables to take a table.
hey, Chris. You're on mute, by the way, Chris. Just want to let you know. I assume that's what you wanted. Yeah, I think, and that's probably in general. I don't mean to belabor the point, but right now with the 2025 show, we will have maxed out the space available to us at this venue for all practical purposes. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I do think we're going to have to figure out a way of optimizing which space we use for what, right? So because we want to make sure that folks that want heavy traffic are in a room that has heavy traffic. We want to make sure that folks um, that are wanting kind of one of those spaces off to the side, if we choose to market them as quieter spaces, that we give them an opportunity to move over there. And then the foyer, we want to take advantage of that if we need to. But we won't have any more space, and we really need to optimize how we use this space, because I know, I'm sure, Grant, you don't want to do this, but I know working through looking at other venues and the costs associated with them was a real challenge. What was it, two years ago, when we went and did a not demo, but we went and toured the various locations. This is a really
Right.
good location, and it's got good access. Some of the other ones either were more run down or didn't have very good access, or if
Or
they
very
had the
expensive.
same, yeah, they had the same access and they were the same quality of place as this, but they were much more expensive per square foot. And so if we can optimize our ability to be in this space for at least a couple more years, that would be great, as opposed to having to go through another process of looking for a venue in 2025 or 2026.
Yeah, and
2026, I guess.
that's one thing we may need to think about doing. We might need to go back to the old-fashioned way where I assign the tables based on what your project and stuff is, the way Tony used to do it back in the day. So,
Got it.
and we can always do it that way if we needed to do so. But we still have a lot of room because we can put a lot of tables out there in the foyer. So, I think if we market it correctly and make sure we get people in the right area, I think we'll be fine keeping this venue for hopefully several more years. Because yeah, I'm like you, I don't want to go through that again anytime too soon. We'll be moving it to Kansas City if we do
Yeah.
it next time.
Oh, I have half a mind at some point to call up the older venue, the Holiday Inn in Elk Grove Village, and see, like, ask if we could see what their rental agreement looked like or whatnot. Because obviously we left there because they had increased the prices like tenfold, and that was not sustainable for us, or not tenable for us. I wonder if they actually made a go of it at those inflated prices, or whether they've moved their prices down. Obviously, don't have an intention of using the facility, but just wanting to see whether they were able to have any success at that, or if everybody bailed like we did.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you or not. I think it was last year they reached out to me and left a voicemail on my phone. wanted to know if I'd be interested in coming back to their location. So, but I never did return that call. So,
Yeah, kind of burned that bridge.
yeah.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Grant? Okay. Um, well, John Mark, I don't believe there was any old business from the last time that you met. Is that correct?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there was, like, we were supposed to have like the reports on how the Cocoa Fest went, and Grant wasn't there to give that report.
Okay.
So if Grant can report on the numbers or something, like,
That'd be Eric. I don't have the numbers for that.
Yeah.
well, like,
I
how many people showed up? Did we? Well, I guess you don't know if we made money or not, but
we did
um,
we did make money. I know that, but I would like to get the specific number. For a little while there, we were waiting for all the rest of the bills to come in, but it should have been available by the June meeting. Like I said, I asked Eric to be part of this discussion, but he has not yet joined. So I'll see if I can at least get the reports for next month, so that if if he doesn't join, at least I can share that information. Because you're right, we're behind on sharing that information. Okay.
Yeah, at least we made money, so that's a plus.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
we did.
I
Um,
think
hmm?
I did pose a question somewhere, like, do we have a theme for the next Cocoa Fest?
Mm,
And
Grant.
I
Yeah,
did.
see, here's the problem. We have done a theme now for 3 years, and nobody has partaked in any of the themes. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of thinking the themes are not going to happen. I
Well,
mean, even with the Star Wars theme, I think we only had. I was struggling to give away those gift certificates as it was, because I think only 2 people participated. So,
I
but
threw
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I threw out there was a song back in maybe the 70s called The Year of the Cat. So I threw out The Year of the Cocoa Cat. And I actually went on the internet and searched for cat costumes, and there's quite a bit of cute. They're not exactly a Coco cat, but you know, we can get fairly close. We could
Are you going
actually,
to wear it?
well, and I'm rather rotund, but there was almost a Garfield kind of a inflatable cat costume I might could fit into.
That was, I think Boise had suggested that at one of the meetings a number of years ago about seeing if I'm trying to think of the person's name that had the rights to Coco Cat, because evidently they had made a costume and had somebody had dressed up as Coco Cat um, and and been at the fest. And Boise had asked if we could reach out. I didn't have much luck reaching out and getting connected to whoever would have that. Obviously, the principal, I can't think of his name, but he passed away, and so it would be his spouse or children, and I wasn't successful in getting that. But it's been suggested. However, my point is, while we were talking about it, I think the question came up at the time of, okay, so let's assume for the moment that we found the cat costume. So we either find or we can reproduce the Coco Cat costume. Who's going to wear it, right? And then all of a sudden, the meeting. I remember the meeting got very quiet. So I think there's a general interest in having somebody be the Coco Cat at the show, but there was significantly less interest in volunteering to be said character at the show.
Yeah, all we had was crickets.
Was what?
Crickets.
Crickets.
Oh yeah, right. So and if I still had young children, they probably would jump at the chance to dress up as a fictitious character, but they're they're in their 20s, so I think that ship has sailed.
That also reminds me too, just to let everybody know, I might be looking for a assistance too for this year because as the show is getting bigger and growing, it's getting harder for just one person to handle. So I might need some assistance later this year when things kick off in December. So just be thinking about if you'd like to help out.
Okay. Well, on that note, and I guess maybe this is a bad thing to suggest, but we had talked early this year. Actually, we talked late last year about a virtual um, fest capability early in the year 2024. And Mark Overholzer, who's not on the call tonight, but he was part of the Coco Nation group, and they took sort of lead on that because they do a lot of the streaming work and whatnot. Afterwards, Mark said that he felt like we probably needed to start if we were going to do something like that. He was excited about doing it again, but he said if assuming we were going to move forward and do that for 2025, he felt like we should start promoting that kind of idea earlier in the year because we only started promoting it like in November or whatnot, and then by then I think everybody had already made their plans. Um, Cute, that's nice. Um, they'd started making their plans already, and it was difficult to get people committed to presenting at the virtual fest. So I guess my thought is, does anybody have a thought pro or con about continuing that and putting on a virtual program in the January timeframe? That's
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea, and I can reach out to Coco Nation and see if they are still interested in doing that again this year or next year, I should say.
well, I think if we are going to do that, oh, that one's nice. um, if we are going to, well, let's shift it. Um, unless folks have an objection, we should move forward with that. But moving forward, that I think is we should start promoting it on the site and so forth, so that we can start getting folks interested, picking a date and so forth. My thought is sort of the end of January. There's not a lot going on at the end of January, and it's definitely for a virtual item where you don't have to travel. Weather is not so much a challenge. So I was thinking the end of January would be a good time frame and give folks time to get through the holidays and then kick off again in the next part of 2025. And so I was going to, I guess, work with you, Grant, and whoever in TCN wanted to work on it and see if we could find out a day or days and specific times that we would want to hold this, and then I can post something to the Facebook group and the mailing list and so forth to get people to start thinking about that time frame.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach out to Mark Overholzer and Curtis and see what the day would work best for them. And I would suggest they'll probably just do it one day, because I know last year they tried to spread it over 2 days, but I think we just need to do one day for right now. Unless we book up that whole day, then we can extend it out to Sunday. But having it on Sunday and Saturday at broken times was kind of confusing, I think, for a lot of people. So
I I would agree. I think one day. I was when I when I was thinking about it in 2023. Um, I was thinking about it much like the original, like the OG virtual fest that happened in 2020 when we couldn't have a regular fest. And I seem to remember it was mainly a 1 day deal, and so that to me would be better. And then, like you said, if we outgrow a single day, we can always extend it to another day. But just having 1 day, I think, would focus folks' attention.
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach out to Mark Overholzer and I'll email you what we've discussed and we'll go from there.
Okay. Um, I probably not too early to at least put this in folks' minds, and I'll post it on the Facebook group and the website and whatnot. Um, but we will um, do nominations in September for officers, and then vote between September and October. So we'll announce our 2024, 2025 officer slate. We'll vote on them and announce them in the October meeting. And so in order to do that, we need to do nominations in September. So that's next month. So be thinking about if you'd like to have, if anybody wants to join the organization in an officer capacity, nominations will be in September. And I think that's all the new business I have. So I'll open it up to the floor and see if there's any additional new business. Anything? How you doing, Tony? Oh, Tony is quiet. Okay, that's fine. So any other new business?
Well,
No. Oh, go ahead, John.
Christopher Hawks wrote me and said that his wife was sick and in the hospital and not doing well.
Oh, well, Chris is on. Chris, you have an update?
Yeah, she was a month or so ago. She was having trouble moving her legs and walking and stuff, and it just got worse and worse. She went to the doctor, sent her for tests. Apparently, her cancer from a couple of years ago was back like a hurricane, the doctor said.
Oh
So
no.
she started immunotherapy on Monday and radiation therapy today. So we're hopeful we can slow the effects down at least, and she can get back on her feet. Right now, she's wheelchair and hospital bed bound. So any prayers and good thoughts would be appreciated.
Okay.
We beat it last time, so hopefully we can beat it again.
Well, it becomes more beatable with every passing day,
Yeah.
it seems, with technology and whatnot. So that's good.
Yeah, in fact, she's getting the 2 immunotherapies, and we've been seeing them advertised on TV. They work so well. There's 2 that they use together, and that's what she's getting, even though it's not lung cancer. It's actually a melanoma that she had on her knee, and now that's gotten into her lymph system and traveled to her spine. So hopefully things will work.
Okay. Well, if that's all we have, obviously short meeting, but then again, I expect it to be thus. I will take an action item to make sure I at least get the reports for the Treasury, for next month, and apologize for not being able to share those tonight. Otherwise, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to close the meeting early.
Well, Grant B and I are working on a Cocoa challenge of some kind.
Oh, okay.
There's this certain emulator I was showing earlier. We thought we could build some kind of challenge around this emulator. It's something like 6809.uk. 6809.uk. Maybe I can share a screen. Screen share. So it's this is the emulator at 6809.uk, and you can just I can't quite scroll this the same as I can like single step this thing and watch the registers change. Here the program counter is F018, and if I step it, it went to F015. I can run it. If I come down to the bottom, oh, it looks like I didn't assemble it. You have to assemble the code first, and then you can run it. I don't know if you can see that update very quickly, but what it's done is it's printed hello world down here in this little screen down here, if you can see that. Anyway, we were thinking about some kind of challenge around this very simple emulator. But we haven't gotten very far with the idea yet.
Okay. Well, keep after it, and I guess let us know when you're a little closer.
Okay.
Okay.
I can post that into the
Chat.
chat.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Well, I'm happy to entertain any other new business or close the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who was that? Oh, sorry. Gotcha. Greg seconded. Grant Grant moved. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
It's always got to be one.
It's always
Yep.
got to be somebody. There's a wise, not wise, a comic in every group. Anyway, well, I appreciate everybody joining. Sorry we've had some challenges over the last few months. Appreciate John Mark picking up the June meeting, and hope to see some of you at the Vintage Computer Festival in Chicago here early September, and otherwise we will reconvene for nominations in the second week of September.
Yeah, that reminds me. I got a table at the festival where I can be connected into the phone system with my Silent 700 terminal. I'm hoping to be able to like telnet